I know that this video is actually like an odd one out from the other ones because in the previous video I actually said that I think I will post a video on how to post images using Python. But I actually wanted to cover how do you read text files first because you might be using it for like your Twitter bot. Like for example, you might be trying to create a bot which sends codes. Now these codes, you can't just put everything in your code. That'll make your code very long. Instead, you can put it in a text file. And by putting in a text file, you need to know how to read each text file, means the text file. So let's actually start with this. So first off, we need something to read. So first off, let's actually create a text file. So I'm in my PyCharm scratches folder because I create new scratch files every time. So yeah, that's that. So I'm gonna do new text document. Let's just call it. And also, I know that I've not been posting for long, but there were exams here, and yeah, that's why. So now let's actually type something for us to like maybe read. Just put it as hello. So yeah, so now that's there. So there is actually a function to read a text file, and that function is called open. So, but first we have to actually define a variable. So let's call it reader equals, let's call it open variable. So in the first area, you have to put the file name, and in our case, it was test.txt. Yeah, it was. And in the second part, you need to actually put how are you going to be using this data. Let me explain. If you put R, your purpose with this is solely to read it. If you put W, it's solely to write in it, like you take an empty file. And if it's A, there is already something written there and you're going to add on to it. So since we want to like read this hello written here, we will be going with R, which stands for read. So the function to read a line is called dot read line. So we can put for I in reader. Right. So now let's actually test this. All right. And as you can see, it's showing hello. Perfect. So now let's actually write something in this. So first off, since there's already something written in the notepad file or in the text file, we're going to be using the A thing, means the A letter, which stands for append. So we will not be able to use this function because the append like category, you can't actually employ read functions. So first off, we're going to do reader.write /n. You must be wondering why I'm putting this. /n actually refers like if you put this in like printing something, it will automatically switch to the next line. And why am I doing this? Because if you write anything, it will go right next to this hello. But now it will go in the next line. So let's continue. So reader.write there. Reader.write. So we're going to do that. But there is a clause. To make sure that these changes are like applied, we need to close this thing. And this should usually be put at the end because after the close function, you will not be able to access the document using the same variable. Means you'll have to define another variable opening the same thing. So reader Okay. Need any variables in it. So now let's run it. It's lagging. Perfect. There were no errors. So now let's actually open test. And as you can see, it's there. It worked. Now that is perfect. So now there is also one more thing. If you want to open a new text file using Python, you can do that only using W. Why? Because if you use read, you have to use it only for one which is already existing. Therefore, you have to use only W. Let me show it. Run it again, and there's no errors. Let me actually, yeah, there we go. And as you can see, it worked. And there is this empty line because I still put this next line. So that was how to read and open text files using Python. So in the next time, we'll actually continue with the Twitter series. So see you there.